Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. In today's video, we're looking at another utility ship that's perfect for moving wreckages over to your grinding pits so you can get all the precious resources with the least amount of hassle possible. So this thing is called the Rhonda Tugboat Mk1, which is this lovely thing that I'm currently driving, and as you can see, we've got two magnetic plates on the front to be able to clamp ourselves down onto a wreckage, push it into a grinding pit, or just move it to where it needs to go, or even just out the way so you don't crash into it when driving a large ship around. Pressing F10 and finding the city spawn menu, the Rhonda is 409 small blocks using the heavy industry, decorative block and wasteland DLC packs. We've got a tiny bit of information about it where it says it was made for a build challenge on the Chonk Army Discord server, so there's that. Anyway, giving this thing a thumbs up, we move around towards the very front, we'll have a quick look around the outside, then we'll test it out and say move that little ship in the background, there it is sitting right behind me, and we'll just slam it into that, and that'll be that. So at the front of the Rhonda tugboat, this is what we get. So we've got an industrial cockpit to drive this thing around, with a camera right above it, so we can get a good view over anything that we're currently clamped onto. It's going to be super useful for driving this thing around, especially when it comes to moving large ships. Just below there we can see a couple of hydrogen thrusters to slow this thing down, and hydrogen thrusters are the only form of thrusters that appear on this ship. We also got two spotlights to light up the darkness, then over onto this section, the main purpose of the ship are two magnetic plates to clamp yourself onto anything. These magnetic plates being connected up to a wheel just for some decoration, and they come around onto some conveyors which are not connected up to anything, they're just purely there for decoration. So as you can see on this section they come all the way down, I'll put my light for a moment, onto there, onto a sorter, then that comes across onto our wheel, then towards the magnetic plate at the front. Yes, we've got some lovely white and orange and dark grey steel blocks to make up the main body of the ship, as well as some great use for our beam blocks just covering up those conveyors. If we look at it on the side, that is all we can see, so we can see some barred windows just covering up the sides of our industrial cockpit. We've got a green light on this side, we see our hydrogen thrusters to move this thing around, as well as our hydrogen tank, to make sure this thing can fly for a nice long time. Behind the steel block and behind the green light is a battery to keep this thing powered. You can see a connector underneath to dock it up, and of course to refuel it. If we were to move along towards the bank, what we can see is our industrial thrusters to move this thing around, and it is a bit overkill at the end of the day. You may want to have a toggle like I've set up like this, so you can turn off two of them, because that should be perfect for actually driving this thing around without any kind of heavy loads on the front, but that's up to you. Anyway, in between all of our thrusters we've got some rounded blocks with a blinking red light, so you can see this thing is reversing up to anything, and of course to stay clear of it, in case it is handling something explosive. Moving all the way up and looking down, you see the tops of our hydrogen tank, with a red light on top. We can see even more hydrogen thrusters move us down in space, as well as some armoured panels to cover up the top of our batteries to make sure it's got a bit of protection. There we see on the left hand side our red light compared to the green on the opposite, and there is the top of our industrial cockpit with the barred window blocks all the way around it. If we were to drop down and come underneath this thing, so past the thrusters, past our spotlight, past magnetic plates, putting my light on, this is what we get. It's got one large hydrogen thruster, then 6 small ones, which should be good enough to keep you off the ground while on the planet. There is our connector to dock this thing up, there's some fantastic use for our piston heads and some more barred window blocks, just for some decoration, and there is the very back with our hydrogen thrusters. And there we go, that's a very brief look around the outside of the Rhonda tugboat. That looks bloody fantastic how it's all been set up. So now what I'm going to do is just grab hold of my character, come over to tab number 1, we'll just go through the controls, then we'll spin it around and move the other ship behind me, and well, push it into stuff. So number 1 is going to be very useful for this thing, which is going to be to lock and unlock our magnetic plates at the front. Number 2 is going to be for our lights at the front to turn them on and off, so there we see them on the side there, just blinking on and off as they toggle that. Number 3 is for our camera right above our cockpit, so we get a good view of what's going on, and if you are interested, there will be a link to the skybox I'm currently using. It's just a gigantic planet just below everything, and it does look rather nice for screenshots. Out of the camera back into third person view, number 8 is for our batteries to auto or recharge, and then number 9 is a master toggle for all of our hydrogen thrusters around the ship. And that's why I recommend having a toggle for the 2 thrusters at the back there, so you whether turn them off and move forwards, we still have plenty of speed to go around. So moving all the way up to this, very carefully now, we don't want to go too fast, in fact I'll just turn off the dampers and slowly come towards it, seems like the safest thing to do, because we do have one hell of a lot of thrust coming from behind us. And that'll do quite nicely. We've had to look down, make sure that connects up, yes we have. We've now connected up to a small mining ship that can move this thing around at some quite high speeds. The mining ship has nothing in there and it is just simply the default one from the per ton orbiter starting base. So yeah, we can just lug this around, we still have some fantastic speed. Then with the camera, as I said earlier, is fantastic so we can look over anything we're collected, and still drive this around without any risk of damaging anything. So now we just fly along here, do that, reverse up, and now we just slam it into the base, and we stop in time. Yes, as for that, that's the controls, that's it lugging around. All I've got to do now is find out where that other little ship was driving around, and we're going to attach onto that, and then slam it into something else. And there it is, it's now come past, and I'm going to fly up to it, clamp onto it, and make it have a very bad day. So there it is now flying around. Can I catch up to it? Oh, crash into something else. Over to here. Come on, I can actually get onto this. There we go. I've now clamped onto it. It's not very happy. It is trying to fight me, and it's going to have a very rough day, because I'm going to do what I did last time, but this time I'm not going to let go of it. And that'll be that for this video. It's a fantastic little utility ship if you do want to have it in your world. Fantastic for grinding pits to move stuff into it, and of course to move wreckages out your way. There'll be a link to its description below if you do wish to download and play around with it yourself. Highly recommend you do. Not actually sure what happened to there. I seem to have got ejected out of the engineer. And there is really not much left of that ship. But yes, as I was saying, it's fantastic for using in grinding ships, fantastic for moving stuff out of the way, and should prove very useful in the long run. So be linked to the description below if you do wish to download and play around it yourself. Highly recommend you do. And I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.